And we open up with Tell the Truth 2012. Also another good theme. Not my favorite Tell the Truth theme, but again, it's still a good one.
So yeah. Tell us about the scepter and how the witch didn't poke her eye out.
It is very edgy.
Witness testimony time. About the Telea Magica continued.
The girl was not holding the scepter in the same hand as the lantern, which means it must have been in her other hand. Never mind the fact that her other hand was holding a bucket.
Yeah.
The accused is holding a milk bucket in the court illustration. Who's to say she wasn't also holding the scepter in that hand?
Well?
That milk bucket is lighter than it looks. Even Snowy could carry it, so she could easily hold the scepter as well.
Poor bastard.
I get the feeling Kira's lack of eyesight is also causing some kind of blood to not go to her brain. Because what she just said makes no fucking sense.
I've not seen this milk bucket. Everything felt like an illusion.
To be fair, she was more so following up Nido's point about carrying it in the other hand, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
The scepter was in her other hand, you say? Indeed, such a proposal is feasible.
That one dude on the end says a whole lot, but also a lot of nothing.
So
she said the other hand. Oh, okay, never mind then.
It is the strangest thing. The longer this trial goes on, the more you begin to resemble a legitimate defender.
Resemble? Like I'm not actually one?
No.
Burn.
No.
You were never was concerned, Phoenix, you're a baker.
You were never Phoenix Wright.
That was an incredibly backhanded compliment.
Well, no matter. Defender, you may begin your interrogation. The way I took that line, I thought it meant you were never Phoenix Wright. You were like, I don't know, Jim Rock.
Let me say something. I kind of wish, considering in this particular world the cross-examination is called interrogation, I kind of wish instead of having cross-examination show up on screen, they would have said interrogation, to keep things consistent.
That is a bit weird.
Oh, sorry. As magic's file embraced it hit the scepter from my side, so I did not see it per se. You see, the reason I didn't see the scepter is because magic. Through my years of earthly training, I have learned to see through such cunning trickery.
I wonder if the reason is that we're still running off of Phoenix's mindset where he still sees this as a cross-examination and that's why they still call it?
For example, this morning I found myself unable to locate the whereabouts of my trusty blade. Its location was a mystery.
We're not interested in yours.
So I tried my hardest to think and remember where I would have kept it last. And before long, behold! It transpired I was carrying my trusty blade in its scabbard all along. Life is riddled with such trickery.
The knighthood is doomed.
Would you say this is like riddled with trickery?
Only if we're talking about my life, My
life's not simple either.
Oh no, trust me, compared to my life, it probably is.
Well, fuck you too, then.
Hold it!
That's shitter than your life.
The court illustration. Look, I've literally had to do a trial
Phoenix,
underwater.
Have you ever died?
Yeah, and her. Well, actually,
that's
not.
apart.
Yeah, hers was like, I died once.
Wait, I may not have died. I may not have died, but I've literally been to the underworld, or the Makai realm, as Morrigan and Dimitri call it. However, if you actually try holding it like this...
Objection! That is nothing more than mere speculation. You cannot say for certain that she was unable to hold it.
You say speculation, I say it's a fact. There's no way a speller could have been holding that thing.
Facts don't care about your feelings, Phoenix.
Yes.
But the facts are on my side this time.
Not in this world.
It's filled with nothing but assumptions and conjecture. You know, Mr. Wright, there does not appear to be any usable evidence present in the whatever.
Yeah, I agree. It does look that way. Which presents a problem. The milk bucket ended up disappearing from the scene.
Yeah.
Someone stole the milk.
Could that actually be an important piece of evidence in itself?
That milk bucket is yeah, what do you with that?
Hold it! Just 1 second, Miss Mary and her little lamb.
Ow.
What is it now? Shucks, the ring I don't have all night, you know. Come on then.
But you said a second ago that you were able to testify all night.
Objection?
I just have one question regarding your testimony. How exactly did you know
Mateo, both me and Shiro question her sanity.
that the bucket Miss Cantabella was carrying was light enough for Snowy to carry?
That is. Oof.
Well,
How does the lamb have to take the heat?
Yeah.
you see, the girl always uses the same bucket whenever she comes to buy milk from us. Naturally, I would have seen that bucket countless times before.
It's just a bucket.
You've seen it countless times before. That doesn't answer my question.
Also, sure, tell that to Homestuck fans.
You specifically said that bucket is lighter than it looks. Miss Mary, at some point tonight, you must have held that bucket yourself.
Listen, Tio, what they do with buckets is none of my business.
True.
Now then, please enlighten us as to exactly when you got your hands on that bucket.
Oh god, you're a homestuck, aren't you?
Tell the truth.
It's true. By that time, Rob's and Mark had already been burnt to ash. And then I noticed the milk in that bucket that the girl had been holding in her hand.
No, you didn't.
Tampering with the crime scene.
And stealing to boot.
Then, when those two went up in a blaze, Snowy and I made a dash for the bucket.
Why did she look at the bucket and thought, mine?
You kleptomaniacal.
As the girl stood there looking confused, we took the milk from her to make sure it was okay.
Oh yes, yes. 2 men were burned alive, but we gotta make sure the milk's okay.
This woman is so full of shit, she's
Yeah,
about to
Laura is
burst.
like, well, Your Honor, we have found actually a guilty person here. Who's up for some lamb for dinner?
Hey, I didn't do anything!
Guilty by association.
You're a lamb, you're her
I'm a
familiar.
victim!
Well, it was just so wasteful. The thought of all that disgusting ash falling into such precious milk.
Please don't look at me like that when you
Make
say
it
that.
tastier? I don't know.
I felt I just had to protect the milk, so I took the bucket back to the farm with me.
You know, have you ever heard the saying of not crying over spilled milk?
Madam, do you mean to tell the court that you took evidence from a crime scene back home with you?
Boy, this trial's getting interesting, ain't it?
When do we all get to go
That
home?
explains why we were unable to locate the milk bucket at the scene.
Ah! Oh my! You're scary, poor Snowy!
I was already scared.
Here, I bought the bucket with me anyway. See? I didn't even tamper with the milk.
It smells like shit.
Yeah, it's gonna smell so bad.
I'm sure you didn't.
With all this heat to boot, it's gonna turn into butter every second.
Oh, god.
The courts have accepted this milk bucket. Oh, that's evidence.
Throwing on to Phoenix.
We need to invent something to keep it cool. Looks like that's one more piece of evidence for us.
The closest these people are probably have to conserve things is salt. I'm not sure it's working.
Now, will the gentleman with the impressive beard proceed to his testimony?
I guess
Not
the
as classy as
judge,
mine, but
the judge having a beer, you know, for himself, I guess he's respectful.
Objection! All of your testimonies have come to the same conclusion.
You didn't see shit.
Aside from that, the scepter was not in her right hand with the lantern. Therefore, it must have been in her other hand that was holding the bucket. Huh. However, that's not it. Not by a long shot.
What do you mean?
What do you mean, what do I mean?
Contrary to what one of the witnesses stated, the milk bucket was in fact at the crime scene. And you'll also notice something about this bucket.
It's brown.
Take another look at the court illustration. Something about the bucket seems a bit odd, wouldn't you say?
Objection!
Objection! This illustration was based on eyewitness accounts, so no discrepancy or two is conceivable.
Objection!
Objection! Huh! Actually, Inquisitor Barnum, it's highly likely that this illustration is much less accurate than you think. In fact, there is a blatant contradiction present in this very illustration.
Yep.
Admittedly, it does at first look possible that Miss Cantabella was holding the scepter and the bucket at the same time. However, if you look at the real milk bucket, that possibility goes up in smoke. Here, let's take a look at the real deal. Notice the handle?
That cannot be!
Oh, but it is. This particular milk bucket has two pieces of wood on either side of the handle. If you were to try and hold both the scepter and this bucket, well, let's just say it'd be a challenge, to put it simply.
It's the Dark Souls of holding objects.
Yes! There is no way anyone could hold both the bucket and the scepter at once.
Carrying out the wrong bucket. What's going on with this animation?
We never lie when it comes to milk. That is the very bucket I took.
You're
And if
honest.
it's something other than milk, then I'll lie my ass off.
I have nothing to say. The slime is screaming in my ear.
It looks like the witnesses are as surprised about this as Barnum. This is my chance! The defendant couldn't have been able to hold the bucket and the scepter at once. Also, we have already established that she was not holding a scepter in her right hand. Ha! Therefore, the defendant, Mrs. Spella Cantabella, was not holding a witch's scepter at any point during the incident.
Order! Order! I said order! Just what? What is the meaning of this?
You are all terrible eardrops.
In all my days as judge of this court, I have never heard such an argument. These are but a paltry set of words, and yet they ring with such remarkable strength.
I guess this place is really kind of like Labyrinthia in Marvel's
And
Chapter 3.
now, Debs, you get to see the line. In a moment.
Your Honor, what you just heard was logic.
Oh
Preach.
god.
Logic, you say?
What is this logic you speak of?
What is with these two?
They just silenced Inquisitor Barnum with mere words.
Such
Fucking
foolishness! This must be some type of witchcraft.
Yeah, clearly.
Everything I don't like is witchcraft.
Well, that's kind of how things were in the Middle Ages.
Wait, do you think
Yeah, he's not wrong.
it would seem that the concept of logic does not exist in this world?
Everybody,
There's the line.
And there's the meme.
Right, then let's take this chance to knock that case down a peg or two. I'm worried if we keep this up, we'll all be joining a spell in a one-way trip to the flames.
Objection!
Objection! Sorry. Most intriguing.
Oh?
A knight allows his sword to speak for him during battle.
But now I'm gonna stab
You
a
have
bitch.
spoken with a sword of words. very lame. It doesn't even physically exist. Look at this shit. So be it. I too shall wield such a blade.
Oh,
Ow.
okay. What do you mean?
Sir Blue Knight, there appears to be a hole in this logic of yours.
Hmm? A hole?
Oh. A-hole.
According to the earlier testimony, it was believed the accused had the lantern hanging from her wrist by the handle. However, she supposedly dropped it, hence it being covered in mud.
You know, it's a shame Robert and Muggs are dead. They totally could have been the Dumb and Dumber or Beavis and Butthead of this universe.
Yeah.
While that may be true, it does not necessarily mean that the accused was therefore unable to use magic.
Maybe that's where we need Jovah, Professor Layton, and Phoenix Wright do the universe. Make it happen.
Yes.
It is merely a question of when she dropped the witch's scepter.
Again, I dig this about Barnum. He does talk a big game, but he can actually back it up, and he's very adaptive as well.
It is very simple, my lord. The accused, while first holding a lantern and the witch's scepter, cast her magic. Then, she dropped both the lantern and the scepter.
I was gonna say, and then shit happened. Ah. The witch's scepter was dropped after the spell was cast. Of course! Yes, that must be it!
What say you, Sir Blue Knight? That is but a taste of the knightly knowledge of the Inquisition.
Wow.
Wow!
Sir Barnum cut through that baker's witchery like a hot knife through butter.
Exemplary! I expected nothing less from the hand of Barnum.
To be able to shake that powerful hand someday.
Barnum! Barnum!
That Inquisitor isn't quite what he first appeared.
Yep.
Yeah, sure seems that way.
I thought it was going to be a pussy.
Just a moment ago, it seemed like he'd never even heard of logical debate. Now he's suddenly using it against us.
He adapts quickly, it seems.
It's the super actually.
This guy is no joke, that's for sure.
Now then, most honorable witnesses, I ask that you lend us your aid once more.
And do it properly this time. Gasp.
I request that you all testify to the court once more. For real this time.
Okay.
Tell us which occurred first, the dropping of the lantern or the casting of the spell.
I thought we came here to watch a witch burn. Why is there so much talking?
Shut
We'll
up,
get to
Mr.
watch a witch
Southgate.
burn eventually, honey, but for now we
Witness.
just have to see them duke it out.
You may begin your testimonies. Tell this court in your own words about the sequence of events which transpired tonight.
In their own words, you say? Oh boy, here we go.
That's a mistake.
Especially with Warsmith.
About the sequence of events.
In English, please.
Of course, the lantern fell to the ground after the incantation of Ignace. Sploosh.
Oh, in English.
I guess that's too much
I'm
English.
sure a story is right. I made sense to keep my eyes peeled on that milk bucket after all.
Oh, I gotta quote Candy Cruise. But that lamp is fucking green!
Yeah.
Besides, how can you be sure the lantern fell just because it has a little mud on it?
All right, fine. Not in English. Porque tem pouco de lama na lá, na lanterna.
Bless you.
There you go. There you go. These eyes do not lie. I saw the lantern in the accused's hand when the incantation was uttered. Also, this woman was just speaking her language. Clearly, she's a witch. Burn!
Figures. Their testimonies are all over the place now. Well,
Up and
this
down
just
and
makes
all
the
around.
job all the more interesting for me, I guess.
These 4 testimonies, they are most interesting.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Layton's too nice to say they're stupid.
Yeah.
The
Pretty
witnesses
much.
all saw the same thing, and yet, people's memories are evidently quite fickle. They can never be a truly reliable source.
Mm-hmm.
Well then, Professor, with enough poking and prodding, I bet we can really cause their testimonies to crumble.
Who let the 8-year-old in the courtroom?
Your Honor, we have tons of kids here to watch the witch get burned. Why is this one weird?
Yeah.
Because he's on the defender's stand.
We've got this, Nick. We'll press them so hard they won't even remember what they had for breakfast.
Not to mention,
What's he
not to
doing
men-
there?
not to mention, Your Honor, we live in a time where children can be crowned kings if there's no other candidates. So come on.
I can't even remember what I had for breakfast.
Probably a croissant.
Also, to answer your question, I'm done with being your footstool.
Dandy.
Now, Sir Baker, you may begin your interrogation.
Ah, but I liked having you as my footstool. Help me peer
hang
over the
on.
desk.
I'm
I
twice
am
your
too
age.
young for back pain.
I'm twice your age, too.
Hold it!
If you were,
The lantern fell after the incantation. Are you positive about that?
if you were up to, if you were, sorry, go on.
I say I'm positively positive, and I'm positive. I heard a voice and then sploosh.
Splatoon doesn't exist here, sir.
That sploosh. Was that the sound of the lantern hitting the ground?
Too much of a beard to be Captain Cuttlefish.
Where's the sploosh?
Yeah.
There was supposed to be an earth-shattering
Indeed.
sploosh.
But of course, do you see?
But if you look at the lantern, you'll notice that the glass is shattered. You specifically said you heard a sploosh. Shouldn't you have heard the sound of glass shattering when it hit the ground?
The sound of glass shattering? No, I'm afraid I failed to catch your drift.
Oh?
Eh?
I was present in an area a bit farther away from the crime scene, you see. I have no recollection of hearing such a sound.
Hang on, did Mary just do something there? No recollection. Uh-huh.
Mysterious old
This
guy.
is actual reality. Phoenix need to stop screaming in the profile. Precisely so. I'll have you know, I could easily hear a dog barking across town. You underestimate my hearing.
But you're detached from reality.
I wasn't. Relax, Grandpa.
Take your meds.
What are meds?
There is nothing of interest in this testimony. Will the witness with the gold please proceed with her testimony?
They're called medicaments.
Ah, right, you mean us. You startled us, didn't you, Snowy?
Right?
Go away.
Goat noises. Or lamb noises. They're a lamb, not a goat.
I'm just... Yes, I'm sure Snowy is right.
Hold it! But earlier, you stated that Miss Cantabella
Had the lantern hanging from her wrist.
Well, not quite. We didn't say for certain. We really believed it was on her wrist.
But doesn't that kind of contradict things? Believed.
Yes, precisely. You know how you sniff milk when you're not quite sure if it's gone bad?
Play get out of her room.
It's better than tasting it.
True.
And then your nose is assaulted by that foul odor that you weren't expecting. Well, it's a bit like that.
Heed my words, madam. Do not make a habit of stealing for your own safety.
So the whole footstool thing, if I were Takumi, I would have Maya hold Luke up high. Like, that would have been so fun. So
Ah,
funny to
that
see.
would have been cute.
Yeah.
Oh, brother.
Please save me from her. You can kill her if you want. I'm fine with that.
But I don't want to get
Anyway.
accused of murder.
We can confidently say that we both saw the milk buckets, right, Precious?
That's okay, we can just blame Maya. She's usually accused of it anyway.
And that just gives me a whole nother job.
We don't know much about that, do we now, Schnookums?
Like you yourself said, Shiroi, like karma. It's karma for all of this stuff.
Of course.
Hold it! What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Well, maybe the mud was already on the lantern before any of this happened. Did you even think of that?
Considering this was a lantern that someone brought from her home, I doubt it.
Before any of this happened,
Like, maybe it's been there since last week. It did rain last week too, after all.
We're so close, Kira. What you were supposed to say, maybe she dropped it before, in country robs and mugs.
Yeah, that would have been a better argument. Like, she's shit at presenting arguments.
And if that's the case, then there really isn't any point arguing about whether or not she dropped the lantern, right?
See, sure, it's not just that she's a shit liar, there's a shit argumenter too. Like,
No one buys her flowers, don't they?
No one buys anything from her.
What say you, Defender?
apparently she must sell flowers good considering she apparently has a quota. I say, take a closer look at the lantern. You'll notice there's mud on the glass.
Mud on the glass?
The lantern wouldn't be very useful with all the mud blocking out the light.
Who's gonna clean up the huge pile of petals on the floor behind that stand?
The janitor.
We
Miss
do not have
Kira,
an equivalent.
I'd say your little theory regarding this lantern is muddy at best.
Ha! Very
Joy.
funny, so get over it.
Ah, your puns are causing me pain.
I could point at witnesses till the cows come home.
Yes, they do.
Sure, allow me to remind that usually when one of these trials ends, there's a shit ton of confetti that falls from the fucking ceiling. So...
Remember, according
True.
to webcomics, at least some webcomics or Yonkoma, I think it's Gumshoe the one who has to clean them up.
No. No, actually, it implies that Gumshoe's the one who makes the confetti, actually, for these.
Okay.
And
They make him clean it up anyway.
Yeah, it will be clean for him.
You are but a petty baker, are you not? It is not your place to be telling me what is important.
okay.
You're not even a real knight.
There is but one thing of importance: ridding this town of its witches as quickly as possible.
Why do I get the feeling you wouldn't be as great at that? Objection! Hardly. I'd say this is far more important.
What?
Say what?
We're trying to find out the truth here.
Move! I want to see someone burn!
Well, you can't do it unless you actually know it's the right person.
Sir, that girl is a witch, I say. A witch! Burn!
Isn't it like really late at night right now as well,
Yeah.
considering when this all started?
Yes.
I would stick my interest into the Knights of Inquisition. Remember, Shira, in this
Oh,
town, seeing witches
that's an
burn in the
interesting
court.
wager.
Listen well, whelp.
Hear it from the horse's mouth.
Yes, Sir Barnum. You see, Shira, I get the feeling this town's primary source of entertainment is watching people burn for being witches.
Many young men within the ranks of the knighthood share your level of passion. However,
They're all dead.
you let your ambition completely blind you. The same way the Valley Lanterns leaves one blind and helpless in the dark. Boom!
Oh!
Fucking got him!
Dang. This guy.
This guy is unfucking believable.
Yes,
Sick on him.
indeed. I would say he is quite the tough motivator.
Layton,
That's one
I
way
know
of-
everyone can read Phoenix's thoughts, but you can be a bit more merciful on that.
What do you think, Nick? Did you
I know
notice
what-
anything fishy?
I know what you ate for breakfast.
Yeah, possibly.
Possibly it's not good enough.
I think there may be something I can use.
You know, I just noticed something.
My guitar.
Aside from that.
Really? Wow. I didn't hear anything
You know,
special.
Jovah just noticed something. In this one game, Maya is pale as crap. Look, she's so freaking pale. Her face is ghost white.
She does look a lot pale here. There was something I hadn't noticed from any of the other witnesses so far. Get ready, folks! We're about to get another new game mechanic for the court cases.
Yep.
It appears you may have found something, Mr. Wright.
Again, this is what I mean with the witch trials definitely being the bread and butter of the game. Again, don't get me wrong, the puzzles are there and do still move stuff around here, but a lot of the new stuff for, well, either of the franchises definitely comes in the witch trials and whatnot. And they do add quite a good level of depth to the court proceedings, I dare say.
It also helps show that, remember, the Ace Attorney part of the development team was mostly people who are brand new to the series, so they had probably some fresh new ideas, thanks to its being fresh blood and everything.
Anyway, maybe there's another way I should be tackling this.
I believe it's worth trusting that intuition, Mr. Wright.
Okay, got it. I'm gonna try something I've never tried in court before. Alright, let's try pressing that old man one more time. And again, here's one point where I do have my contention here that there is no skip button here. Yes, they do need you to replay this testimony, but you cannot skip up to the point where the thing that's triggered will get triggered.
Why?
I don't know.
I honestly don't know. Like, I can get maybe doing it that way for the Layton segments, but no, like, give us the skip button.
Did maybe I suppose you could say that maybe it's been a long time since Takumi had directed an Ace Attorney game, sort of. This maybe he just forgot bits and pieces.
Well, it wasn't too long since he had last done Apollo Justice, and let's not forget, as we mentioned,
He didn't direct it.
True. He co-wrote it, but he didn't direct that one.
There we go.
There it is, right there. I know I heard something strange.
In the neighborhood.
Indeed.
Who are you gonna call?
You're right.
Phoenix, right?
Yeah.
Maya, it's not the old guy that said something weird. It's the person next to him.
Next to him.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Look there, Professor! That very cursed gaze! The goat lady! She looks really deep in thought.
That expression counts as quote-unquote deep in thought.
He has ascended.
It was see. Well, that's just the goat that's deep in thought. I don't know.
No, that goat looks depressed.
It's like the iguana in Layton.
Yeah.
This elderly gentleman's testimony.
That's why I'm convinced that that particular lamb joke was Hino who thought of that one.
Also, see, Layton, even despite everything, Layton still has some courtesy towards me.
That's right. These cross-examinations have 4 witnesses. Hey, Nick, it looks like we're not the only ones paying attention to these testimonies.
The witnesses noticed the contradictions for us. You're right. Which means, if they're all listening to each other's testimonies...
Correct, Mr. Wright.
I was thinking... Oh, wait. I guess it's...
Each witness is fully aware of themselves and their own actions, but in the middle of their own testimonies.
I guess this particular mechanic also comes back in Great Ace Attorney.
However,
Yes.
it is while listening to the testimonies of others that the witnesses may sometimes reveal the most valuable information.
It is kind of a shame that they didn't bring these over to the mainline games, but who knows? If the word that Takumi is working on Ace Attorney 7 is anything to go by, maybe they will. And I guess
serve as good escalation.
Well, Grace Attorney... Well, Okay. Isn't Grace Attorney a mainline game despite not being a numbered entry?
Call it Ace Attorney 0 if you want.
I guess we could
Not the first
technically
Capcom
consider
game
it that.
I mean, it's a prequel, but that doesn't change the fact that it's as much of a mainline game as any of the others.
Mr. Wright, can I draw your attention to the touchscreen?
The touchscreen. Well, we have to remember there actually are spin-offs like the investigation games. I'm not sure if Capcom considers Great Ace Attorney a spin-off or a mainline one.
Sliding the magnifying glass during a witness's testimony will allow you to shift your focus across to another witness.
And yes, as you can imagine, this also nets you even
Sorry.
more dialogue as well.
The investigation games are significantly different, so that it makes sense for them to be spin-offs. With the Grace Attorney games, no, those are mainline games in everything but name. So I'm going to have to call those mainline games until Capcom actually flat out confirms that they're spin-offs, to be honest with you.
I guess you know what, that's fair game.
Capcom's next tweet, their spin-offs, the end. That's
Yeah.
Just like I said in the past for stuff like Final Fantasy, it's just a nomenclature. If they're really that connected to the plot, what's so important in defining a spin-off or not?
What are you
Like
waiting
in
for,
Kingdom
Nick?
Hearts.
Let's give it a shot. How about you try questioning the goat lady?
Okay, all I have to do is slide the magnifying glass over to the witness. So yeah, and look, we've got cross-examination Allegro for us too.
Yes.
Hang on!
That's another right one.
Excuse me, Miss Kira.
What do you want?
I just wanted to
Nothing
check
else.
out this dialogue for
Oh
us.
god,
I
that's
was just testing you.
Oh, right, yeah.
fair.
Made you look.
Do you have something to say about the testimony just now?
No.
I've got far more important things on my mind right now. Like, will my boss fire me if I don't sell my flowers tonight, even
You're
though
in-
it's like 1 a.m.
you're
and
in-
nowhere's
you're
open?
You're in Britain, sacked.
Huh?
We call it sack, not fire.
Yeah,
This is not Britain, this is Labyrinthia.
yeah, true.
It's based on Britain.
Are you sure?
Is it?
How do you know that
Yeah.
London wasn't actually based
Well-
off of Labyrinthia?
But again,
He fires
remember,
It's
me,
got
he
an
fires
accent.
me not. He fires me, he fires me not. He fires me, he fires me not.
well, remember, guys, the true objective for Bloodborne being Yarman was to escape the UK, so...
Nope, she's got nothing up there, Nick. Except maybe the
So
sack.
is that
Oh, I
so?
got.
Even Maya knows the
Okay.
terminology.
Okay, hang on a minute. Hang on. So the ones with British accents say fire, but the American/Japanese says sack.
Which is interesting
I honestly
because
didn't
remember,
think being a flower seller could be so stressful.
which is interesting because remember, this was localized in Europe. So
Did they get
Yeah.
the plot? That's the plot twist. Maya is actually from Europe.
which is interesting because according to my research, one of the localization directors is apparently either Portuguese or Brazilian. So
To
Probably
go
Portuguese
back
since
a
it's
bit on
Europe.
Trevor White's voice acting, it's weird. He shouts "hang on" just fine, but again, why do his objections sound so mundane?
And for that matter, when it comes to, voice acting and everything, that was the best take.
Yeah.
interesting.
Let's see what the others were.
you know what's interesting about the voice acting? You know, that even before this game was a thing, in conventions, people will always ask Christopher Miller to say objection and hold it and shit like that.
Why not?
So by the time he got around to recording this game, he probably I've had plenty of practice. Let's do this.
Yeah, I'll put it this way: Jovah's objections are better, and he's not a voice actor.
Alright,
I knew
time
it.
to actually
I caught her
question Mary.
completely off guard. Mr. Wordsmith just gave his testimony. He told us all about the sound he heard when the lantern fell to the ground.
I threw it on the ground.
Welcome to the real world, jackass.
Mr. Wordsmith didn't seem too sure, but I wonder if you might happen to have something to say about this. The floor is all yours.
Hey, maybe the Great Knight can say something. Well, that's. Help me, Snowy.
The smoke fumes are getting to her.
Is that all right, Sir Barnum? Let me answer the question. Do you need permission for everything? No.
Do what you will, madam. There is no need for formalities.
Oh, how
Don't
nice
put your
of you.
finger up at me, rude.
Huh?
Are they in collusion?
Oh, God.
Well, we'll try and explain, won't we, Snowy? The truth is, we did hear something.
Don't drag me into this.
You're a witness too.
This is on you.
That is to say, we heard the sound of the lantern's glass shattering. We're sure of it. It was frighteningly loud.
I'm not sure if Snowy's as sure, but we'll run with that.
How much land sheet has been collected on her stand by now?
We're quite startled, isn't he, Snowy dear? I looked in the direction of the sound, but I couldn't see anything, let alone the guild of those two thieves. It was a tad dark after all.
Well, you're a bad witness.
I know.
Listen, because Snowy looks just like the little goat from Heidi.
When the glass shattered, the flame inside must have gone out. Hence she could not see them.
Which in my country is actually called what in Britain translated as snowflake. So
That seems to be the gist of it.
Maybe it's a reference.
who knows?
Then, as I peered into the darkness, I heard it.
I mean, it wouldn't be their first reference. Just ask Mrs. Cinderella.
Mm-hmm.
You heard it. What did you hear
I heard it.
exactly?
You know, that! I heard.
Take that?
The incantation for the spell Ignaze.
Line? What did you just say?
Oh, snap. Here we go.
No, hold it right there, witness. Yes, my lord.
The glass shattered when the lantern fell. Then after that, you heard the incantation for the spell Ignaze. Do you swear to this court that this is without a doubt correct?
Yes, maybe, I think.
No,
Yes,
seriously,
I don't
for
know.
once I need you to be
No,
sure
maybe
on this
it'll be the
one.
question. Upon my testimony, what are my oratorical observations? What was it my Ignaze occurred first? When the lantern fell to the ground?
I heard no such thing. There was no sound of shattering glass.
Interesting.
Oh, your hearing's bad too, huh?
Absurd, simply absurd. So the lantern fell and the glass shattered. That does not change the very fact that this girl is a witch.
You know, you might actually be more useless than Kira. Objection!
That's saying something.
I hate to disappoint you, but that's not quite the case. In fact, this testimony changes things a lot. Wouldn't you agree, Inquisitor Barnum?
What is the meaning of this?
Your Honor, you may want to buckle up for this. I'm about to spin this trial around us in a fierce turnabout. Let's go over what we know so far. In order for a witch to use any magic, they must be holding a witch's scepter.
Yes.
And yet, none of the four witnesses saw the defendant holding a scepter of any kind.
That's because the scepter was made to disappear with the spell Debir, correct?
Close but no cigar. At the time of the crime, the two victims grabbed Miss Cantabella's arm, causing her to drop the lantern onto the ground. If, at the time, she was in fact holding an invisible scepter,
How did you get the scepter through that hole?
then the scepter must have fallen when she dropped the lantern. Now, let's say, hypothetically, that Miss Cantabella really is a witch.
Ah, you said she's a witch, guilty.
Yeah, means it was a queen.
Hypothetically, in order to use any magic, she would have had to recite the spell before dropping the scepter.
Sorry, Phoenix. Hypothetics don't exist here.
However, as our witness, Miss Mary has just stated in her testimony, she heard the incantation for Ignace after hearing the lantern's glass shatter.
Ah,
Oh,
what?
You do all understand what that means, don't you?
I'm now Pedro's voice double.
It means that Miss Cantabella, the supposed witch you've locked up,
Hey, don't blame me for it.
could not possibly have cast any magic. Ha! Therefore, the defendant, Espella Cantabella, is clearly in no way, shape, or form a witch!
It's just
Told you he wasn't kidding about being
sir.
sent flying.
such frailty! Don't you realize when you're insinuating? Don't you really think she is not a witch?
Hey, you want to talk about witchcraft? Can we talk about the guy who literally just was flying in the air?
That's not
I know, right?
You didn't even listen to my testimony.
Because in
Also,
a
yeah,
clear
also
reference to
Snowy-
Tony the
Snowy-
Stone, he might be a
Snowy,
warlock.
stop eating her flowers.
Oh god, he is.
we did, but you're wrong. There was no glass shattering.
Also, Joe, I want to talk about this theme as well.
Oh yes, this is the pursuit theme, casting
Corner's
magic.
Bellbreaker.
My favorite track in the game.
Are you calling me a liar, Missy? You couldn't even see the mud on the lantern when it was plain as day.
Hey, this is fun. The witnesses are fighting each other now.
Like I said, for this game, both Nishihura and Kitaga went all out.
I love this song.
Oh, hush. Take your little toy sword and go back to playing pretend, Sir Knight.
Ouch. Huh?
You were enjoying the music.
I was enjoying the witnesses fighting each other instead of me.
Witnesses, this is a court of law,
Could have fooled
not
me.
a playground. Must I remind you of the importance of these proceedings? Witches and their magic threaten our fairy town of Labyrinthia.
Don't
Fair.
argue to the work for
Your
them.
words here today could decide the fate of every single citizen within our walls. Do you understand?
For as much as Barnum is caught up in the witch thing, he does legit want the right person to be found guilty.
As such, I expect each of you to take your role seriously and testify honestly about what you saw. Sentry, stop fucking around. For fuck's sake.
There are several more parts of this. There's gonna be a lot more fucking around.
Jiroi, this is actually tame compared to some of the rowdy crowds we get.
In all my days as judge of this court, I have never seen such behavior. Behavior that leaves a cloud of doubt over the credibility of each of your testimonies.
Thank
Your
you.
previous trials have been always boring. Indeed, my lord. Quite a miserable set of witnesses, this lot.
Just a few minutes ago, you were praising them as the supposed paragons of truth.
That's it, all guilty.
I see. It would appear this trial has come to a sudden halt. No shit, Layton.
Huh? So, that must mean...
No, it
When?
doesn't mean we've won.
Oh.
Quite right. It means you have won this trial. Wait,
Oh,
how
there
did
you
that
go,
one
see.
out?
You're jumping the gun a little bit there.
We've won?
Quote unquote.
That may be a new record for me.
Yeah, I've played your games, Phoenix. Sometimes your first trials go on forever. I can hardly believe the situation we have found ourselves in. I did not anticipate this trial ending with such a strange turn of events.
Get used to it with these people around, Your Honor.
But due to these witnesses' dubious credibility, I can see no reason to continue.
They're pretty much defeated.
What say you, Inquisitor Barnum?
The aristocrats? As you wish, my lord.
Huh.
Nah, I can't be over this quick.
Gotta respect the orders and everything.
What is going on?
Actually going to let this witch run free through the town?
Who says if it wasn't for that witch and her friends?
So.
Y'all are crazy.
Oh no!
Speaking
I
of
forgot about
crazy,
Wait,
Oh,
huh?
no. It's
it's some guy.
Oh, the town drunk.
Oh yeah, he'll be more credible. The guy who's drunk.
Order! Who is this buffoon?
It's gone. Oh, okay.
Who am I, you ask? Who am I? Why?
Yes.
I don't
I'm the
know.
man that's gonna single-handedly save this trial. I'm the 5th witness.
Oh snap!
Oh yeah, because you're credible.
How much is in that mug?
Sir,
Some say he's still going to this day.
I don't know if I should be stopping him or cheering him on.
This blank read was weak. I have to agree on his delivery.
Yeah, again, it's weird with Trevor White. One minute he's just fine, the next it's Narmy. Anyway, just as I thought, this trial was going down the drain before I got here. Okay, you lot! Witnesses, assemble! We need a strategy meeting ASAP!
What do you mean ASAP?
I say, who are you?
Thank goodness you showed up.
That feeling when worse maybe is not the worst person in the room.
We can't give up now, everyone.
I'm afraid that's up to the judge, not you guys. Let's come down to this. 2 hours, everyone. We shall do battle against that baker and that hat seller.
This hat is not for sale.
Wait, did he say his hat was for sale?
No, I didn't.
I can't believe this. What the heck is going on?
It's really fascinating. It seems a new witness has taken the stand. Yes, my job is to state the fucking obvious now.
Not just that, the Layton finds everything fascinating despite everything being
What's
against
more,
us.
he appears to be quite the formidable. Layton, he's drunk. How
he's
is he
the town
formidable?
drunk.
Well, yes.
Why do they have to spin around when they're doing their
It's the
huddle?
circle of friendship here.
This trial is still far from over. Also, it looks cool!
Objection, Your Honor. You're the one in charge of this trial. Maybe do something.
Snowy's literally clanging on their back.
Poor Snowy.
Save the fucking lamb, everyone.
To be continued. So yes, folks, this trial isn't over. In fact, one could say this is where the real case begins.
No kidding.
Hell,
So the first few hours were just a waste of everyone's time.
No, Shiroi. It was to help get
It was just to
Phoenix
introduce the
well
mechanics,
acclimated here.
Oh, no. What I mean is none of us to get to go home.
No, sure. You know, I still like to imagine that for some audience members, this is the most fun they've had with a witch trial in some time.
Probably, yeah.
Nah, I'm still gonna stick to my theory that their one source of entertainment is watching people burn in this court.
Well, that's ironic, though, because wouldn't that mean that their one source of entertainment comes from their main source of fear? Because let's not forget, they all hated whenever the storyteller mentions a story with a witch, so...
That's exactly why, Jovah. They get to see their fear burn.
Well,
what better, catharsis than that?
True, yeah, but that's like if I got to go to an amusement park only after there was a great natural disaster or something. Like, yeah, you get the most fun
I think
thing,
the better
but
analogy, Jovah, is that after you get to actually being on the, like on a high risk kind of attraction, in the theme park, your adrenaline, coming from the fear makes you wish to punch something. I guess that's that.
Before we finish, let me just address something. But again, at the same time, address Dweeb's statement about the whole it's a turning. Like Jovah said, it wasn't that long since she took me to it's a turning. It's more so, I will argue, the development team. You see, too, like you also talked about the whole, development team. Basically, too, After Ace Attorney 4, Shu Takumi made Ghost Trick with a new team that's separate from the Ace Attorney developers. And that team became his primary team that he used for making this game with Level 5 and now the Greatest Attorney duology. So even though Takumi's the writer and director, the actual development team is brand new to Ace Attorney as of the time of making this game. So maybe it's just that these developers are green?
The weird thing, though, is like I mentioned, with the it also ties back to my thing with the save system, which, again, just blatantly uses the Layton save system, which, again, extends even into the court case bits. And since Layton does not have a skip button either, I would attribute it to mainly being that of the Layton system. Again, this is part of my issue, though, because in a lot of other cases, they've done the crossover example very well, where more Ace Attorney-esque characters have the Ace Attorney sound effects, and the Layton characters have the more Layton sound effects. Like, I don't know, maybe it would have been tough for the system, but part of me does wonder if they couldn't have maybe have at least tried saving the save system. And again, I get that it's typically not customary for Layton to do it, but I really do honestly feel like this would have been a good game that to have an episode or chapter select in case you want to just replay a certain chapter.
The basic gist of it, too, is that after Apologizes, the original Ace Attorney team that dates all the way back to 2001 disbanded, sort of, kind of, and again, Takumi went on to form a new team, and Yamazaki had formed his own unique team. So the original Ace Attorney team doesn't really exist anymore.
If I recall correctly, some of them did stick with Yamazaki or Takumi in some shape or form. Others went off to do different things. Let's not forget, back in the time in the original Ace Attorney trilogy, we had names like, freaking Shinji Mikami attached to Ace Attorney, and well, he's off doing way different things now. Again, it really is interesting how, for a game that had relatively small beginnings, the Ace Attorney team is where actually a lot of greats would get their start or cut their teeth on in development here and there. Without further ado, though, we'll see you in the next part.
Yeah.